Welcome to the transcript tutorial. This will be fairly long because there's quite a lot of different features of the transcript viewer and things to explain. So what we're going to do is first we'll just open a transcript and explain about where that transcript came from, and then we'll look at some of the different functions and then show how it can get quite complex and things that you can do. So what you have to do is on the left controller you come to the import menu where you have to import most things. And then you'll see down here under Other, there is Transcript. And if you've got a transcript in a particular format in that folder, and we have one under Lego Demo Project, it's called the Lego Transcript. There's a little preview of it. Then we can open that. Now you can't just put any old transcript in here. It's transcripts that have been created with our software called DOT, Distributed Open Transcription Environment. So I'm just going to accept that, and then we'll see a transcript appear. What I'll do is I'll just remove some of the things just to get us in a plain view. Bring it a little bit closer. Now this transcript is a transcript of the whole of this segment, especially this table here and this researcher here, or research helper, and what he says and what this table says. And in this game, as you probably know, there's one person who has to run behind the table and look at the Lego and come back. Now we have transcribed this roughly, attending to certain features like pausing and overlaps, and that's about all. And we're going to play that, and it's broken up into little segments. So what you see here is the beginning of the transcript, and it's been made in a software called DOT, as I said. And what it means is that we can actually load this directly from DOT into AVA. The thing that I chose in the import menu was a simple DOT project with a transcript in it. And if you format it in DOT, then it's just completely interchangeable into AVA. You can also edit live in DOT, and then if you say reload transcript, it will appear here. So somebody else can be editing the transcript, changing it, and then it will appear correctly here. So you can do live analysis and live transcription, somebody in VR and somebody not in VR. And there are ways, of course, to, in VR, look and edit and use the keyboard to edit that inside VR and then live upload it. But we're not going to illustrate that today. Okay, so what we see here is the first few lines. You have a number of options up at the top and then down at the bottom. So let's just take a look at those. The transcripts are located in the transcript folder, which is in the project folder. So if you put it there and it's in DOT format, then this will just work. We have metadata attached. Here is the metadata, which is at the top of the transcript file. There are some strange characters here because these are emojis that appear in DOT but don't appear here in the metadata viewer. And you can see there's P1, the woman in the floral dress at the back here. P2 is the woman running here. P3 is the woman in white top, and R1 is the researcher that's here. He's standing here and about to say something. Okay, so we have the metadata. We also have things like view codes, which are, as you'll see a bit later, those in DOT we can map onto particular parts of the 360 image which we want to focus on, and they're all built into DOT. And then we'll talk about looping in a moment. This is an active transcript, meaning this transcript is the only one open at the moment and it's active. At the end of this tutorial, I'll open the same one and show we can have multiple transcript versions, the same or different. And then you have an active one, the one that's driving what we see here, and looping, for example. But you can switch between them. So you can have several different transcripts open of different types and then have switch between them. So what will happen, as you'll notice, I'm going to play the video and then you watch the transcript. So I'll position this roughly down here and we'll see what happens. So read the words, see if you can follow it in Danish and see what happens as the transcript changes.
Og så når jeg siger go, så starter vi. Er I klar? 3, 2, 1, go!
So there, you may have noticed in between the dotted lines is the current segment that's showing. And this is segment 5, we see at the top left. It's also down here, segment 5. and that's when she's running. It takes 2.2 seconds and she runs. Just before that, he said 3, 2, 1, go, and then she started running, and he's also started running over here, but we're not concerned with that group. And she's running. If we play a bit more, you'll see it will jump and show a little bit more. She arrives at the hidden table behind here. We could open up another camera view to see that, but we won't do that now. And then she starts inspecting the block. So this is timed perfectly as a time code to what's happening in the scene, and it will run through the transcript. We could go back. Remember, segment 5 was about her running. If we go and click on segment 5 down here, we're back to that, and there she is. We can play from there. We can click again and keep going back to that. But we can also loop. So as we're watching this transcript run through, we could say, I want to see one bit again and again. And if you click the little icon under the segment number, this is segment 5, and now play, you'll see her running endlessly over to the table. So we have a way of looping particular segments. Not only that, we can also loop segments before and after in a continuous stream. So I could say, I want to loop when he says 3, 2, 1, go, and then runs. Let's try that.
2, 1, go. 2, 1, go.
Now notice there it's looping, but it's missing just slightly the beginning of him saying 3, 2, and then you hear him say in. Sometimes the audio doesn't quite catch up as it's looping. You can go back one little step more, so you will hear that.
3, 2, 1, go. Er I klar? 3, 2, 1, go.
And there you see we're getting a little bit of a head start with segment 3, then we hear segment 4 clearly and run into segment 5 and loop back. Not only that, you can also, if I take these ones off, I can also say I want to jump and loop non-contiguously. So segment 5 and segment 9. Now segment 9 is this one where P1 says yes. Maybe we'll take a little bit, maybe a little bit later than that. Maybe segment 10 where she says that. So let's see what happens as we switch between 5 and 10. There she runs. Then we jump to 10. Sorry, 10 is not going to be... 10 is when she rearranges the pile. So we actually want 11. And 11 will be when she says this. So let's try that. Oh, sorry, not here. It's when he says that. So we're jumping between one segment and another completely. And you can have any number and jump between them, so you can set up some nice loopings and to show phenomena across the whole transcript. Now you see the segments at the bottom here, and you've got a scroll bar. You can just grab that with the trigger, and then you can go all the way through. You can see we actually have 120 segments. We can click here at the end. Here we're at the end of the transcript, and we can go back down. You can also do it inside here and grab it just by grabbing this part, but you can also grab the scroll bar. You see we've still got these two loopings going on here, 5 and 11. If you don't know where they are, because there's a long list, you can say reset loop, and they're all gone. And then we can set them back again, 5 and 11. Play, press the run, and there's him saying this line, and then she's gone back to running again. So we're getting a nice looping. We can do it in a continuous line, getting a number of segments, or we can jump around. And then we can reset the loop, and it's gone. Okay, so we've done segments, we've done looping, we've done non-contiguous looping, we've done resetting the loops. Now the view codes, if I turn that on, this is set in DOT. You may notice it's showing over here, because we would normally have a video embedded here showing what's going on behind the screen. Watch what happens as I play this. You see, it's adjusting, and then it's following her. And then we would have another 2D video here, which would be showing what's happening from the other camera's viewpoint on the table, because we can't see very well here. And that's highlighting that in our transcript. So, but you see what's happening as we're playing. This is saying, look at this video up here. And then it will move back over here. So this is giving you an idea of where you should look in the scene. And if you're in the wrong direction, if you look around behind the wrong way, it's got these dotted lines which are telling you to look a certain way, and then you can see, okay, look up there, and then you see that. If we just move up a little bit further, if we just fast forward to where she runs again, it's coming up. There, it already happened. So she's behind here. I'll just rewind it a little bit. There, and you see there was the movement following, tracking her to where we would see the other video. So what you can do is show which particular scenes. It could be you want to focus on this group over here or him behind here, and then you can for somebody who's watching it, then and playing your transcript, they can see, okay, you're focusing on what's going on here, which is she's arrived at the hidden table. And there you hear her saying, "De fuck, okay," as she's behind the table here, which of course they cannot see, and they're busy trying to figure out what to do next, waiting for her to return. Okay, so that's the view codes. I'll just toggle those off, and you don't have to have them on. So just to finish up, you can have more than one transcript, and they can be independent. So in this case, we don't have another version of this, but I can open the same one. So we go back to transcript here. I can have two versions. So now you see a second version here. And for example, I could focus on this one, which is this one is active. If I set this one back to active, this is the one, and it was on, say, 5 and 11 we wanted to loop. On this one, we might want to loop, for example, what's at 7? If I set this to active, no, we don't want that. Let's say 9. Then we go up a bit further, 14. So when she returns to the group, let's say 14 and 15, what happens as she returns to the group? So if we play that now, we can see this one is set at a different looping. If we play it now, this is the active one, and this is the one that we'll see. So you see, okay, the two orange should be placed like this. So we're seeing that one. Now, if I set this one as active, this one will be dictated, and we'll have that running and then him saying something. So we're getting non-contiguous looping, and here we're getting contiguous looping in two different parts. We could have multiple transcript windows open. We just have to choose the active one. Each of them has view codes, which we can toggle on and off according to the shot that we're engaged in. And we can reset loops independently, reload transcripts independently. In this case, if we reload, they're likely to both reload because it's identical transcript. But we can have different versions of a transcript, one with more detail, for example, of nonverbal or of the other group, for example, and then we could switch between these transcripts live and also edit them, each of them live in DOT. Okay, that's very, very powerful. It gets a little confusing, but it's really very, very powerful when you have such complex data as this. So I'm going to finish there, and you should exit this tutorial and try it yourself with the Lego demo project. You have this transcript. You can open it and try some of the same things I've just done.